Happy New Year's Eve, best friend. I am so excited and grateful to be spending tonight with you. And I thought that you guys really loved my Christmas Eve story time. And I asked you guys what you wanted to know. There's a lot of you guys who want to know how me and my husband met. So I am definitely trying to get him to sit down with me with his father here. There's so much going on, and a lot of the stories that I have with my husband, I want to tell you with my husband. So that is why I'm kind of saving those fun stories, like our honeymoon and how we met and all these things, when I have him here with me. So I'm gonna just tell you guys a story time about before I met my husband. Actually, when I met my first ever crush slash my first ever boyfriend. I don't really say that he was my boyfriend because I talked to him a couple of years ago for the first time. We maintained friends, and he actually did not really acknowledge me as a boyfriend. So, oh, I have some pimple cream, by the way. That's what you see. So yeah, I'm gonna tell you guys a story about when I was 13 years old and I had my first kiss. Now, I had my first real kiss later in life, but this was like, I guess, my first puppy love, if you will. But yeah, it's kind of crazy that he never really considered me his boyfriend, but okay, girl. Anyways, so snuggle in, grab a snack, grab a drink. Just because, oh, by the way, before I get started, listen, whatever the reason is that you are hanging out with me tonight, you decide to stay home, you know, plans fell through, whatever it is, I want you to know you're not alone. You got me. But most importantly, you got you. And I know that this year is going to be so blessed. So when that clock strikes 12, if you're sleeping or not, before you go to sleep, if it's before 12, I want you to think really amazing, positive thoughts. And if you are awake when that happens, get some grapes, eat some grapes, 12 grapes for make a wish each grape, and just welcome this year, this new year, with lots of love and gratitude, because you deserve it, okay? But like I said, whatever the reason is, I wanted to make sure that you knew that I was here with you, and we're having a slumber party. So I have my weighted blanket, I have my water, and I have my big ass mouth. So let's start. I've actually never really given you guys the full story of this. He is such an amazing guy. He is still kind of in my life. So, you know, he's probably going to watch this and he'll probably leave a comment so you guys will see who it is. But because I did not tell him that I was going to say the full thing, I'm just going to kind of not say his name. And then if he does, like, say, you know, if he's totally okay with this, by the way, because I have talked about him before, but I didn't tell him that I was going to tell the whole story, but he's totally okay with it. Anyway, so I'm just going to change his name until, and then if he does comment, then I'm going to, like, give you guys all his info. But he's a great guy. Anyways, so we're just going to call him Philip, okay? We're going to call him Philip, and it's actually his middle name. So there you go. And by the way, he's out. There's nothing shady or anything. We were 13. We were 13. This was before I moved to Europe, and he was, oh my gosh. So my buildings were like 3 different buildings, right? And my brother and I met him in they had like an entertainment room in one of the buildings. It was kind of bougie, I'm not gonna lie. Like it had like an entertainment room with like computers and stuff. Like it was like, okay, girl. But one day my brother and I were just hanging out, walking around, blah blah blah, and the buildings, they had like, one building had like a little convenience store. The other building had, can you guys see me? Am I focused? I don't even know, girl. Hang on. Yeah, well, I'm focused, right? I don't know, girl. Anyways, so the building had one building had a convenience store, the other building had a computer room, and then the middle building had the pools, and we lived in the middle. And we would often go like everywhere, whatever, right? Anyways, so what happened was that we were in the computer room and we met him. And he was, I mean, I'll never forget it. He had long, curly hair. Like, he had really long, like, up to here. And, like, he would always do this. And he was actually also Colombian. I feel it might, yeah, no, it's good, right? I think it just looks weird because the light, right? Hang on, let me just, like, move you, like, center you. Maybe that will help. So he was Colombian as well, and we just hit it off. We found out that we liked the same music. We found out that we were, very alike. Now, mind you, at 13 years old, I mean, I knew I liked boys, but I obviously didn't. I was not out about it like that, right? And so my brother, him and I, Philip, my brother and I, we quickly became inseparable. We loved hanging out. So he did go to a different school than us. We didn't go to the same school. He went to like our rival school, if you will. It was in the district. That's why he could live in the building. And we started hanging out after school like almost every day. I immediately started getting a crush on him. And he and I were, so I'm older than my brother. Like, my brother was like 3.5 years younger than me, I believe. And yes, 3. And so I mean, we still had the same, and honestly, like, my brother and I really, we were like the same age. Like, we were like twins. And what's so funny is that, like, while he was younger than me, he was so much more mature than I am. Oh my God, best friend, like, so much more mature. Well, anyways, we started hanging out a lot. We started, like, doing a lot of things together. And then I just remember that one day was just him and I. Don't really know where my brother was. Probably in after school, I don't know. And I remember that we were hanging out outside of the building, and I remember that he, like, walked me home. And then I remember a lot of phone calls. So we would talk on the phone every single night, like clockwork. I mean, so my mom, she got me a cell phone, and it was, I remember the phone carrier was Metro PCS, so it was like unlimited minutes. And so I just remember him and I talking a lot. Like, we would talk a lot, like every single night. And we started getting closer, him and I. Now, I didn't really know he was like gay in the beginning, until he mentioned that, well, he was, I kind of believe that he was maybe a year or two older than I was. I'm pretty sure. And he was a little more experienced than I was. I do remember that. But yeah, one day we were talking and he was just like, so, do you know any cute guys that you like? And I was like, so then it just like, I was just like, fuck it. I'm just gonna, I might have been 14. This was right before 14, probably. I don't quite remember. I was not 13. 13, 14, okay? 13, 14. I moved almost 15. Yeah, 13, 14. I was still very, like, And anyways, he was very, like, we used to have a thing where he would say, like, crazy things, and I would be like, and he would be like, are you making a face? Are you making a face? So we would kind of laugh about that. I quickly became, like, I fell in love with him. Like, absolutely madly in love with him. he always told me, because I do remember that he never, like, that he's had a boyfriend or two, but they were older than him. And I never forget that, I think he could tell that I liked him. And like, anytime he would talk to me about other boys and stuff, I do remember like fully being like, mm. And then that's when he would be like, are you making a face? And I remember he would be like, oh, I just love making you jealous, this and that, ha ha ha. And anyways, I'm trying to think, when was it that like we really, really started? Um, so everything kind of changed when we had our first sleepover. And I remember that he came over and my brother and I were in my bed and we were watching movies. He was also in the bed while we were watching movies, but my mom had like a blow up mattress or whatever and put it on my side of the bed. And anyways, yeah, he slept over and we before we went before we watched movies, we went on a walk, and there was this like cemetery near the house, and we were in our witch era, and my brother and I used to do spells, and we walked around the cemetery, and that's when he so romantic. Oh my god, this is not the first time that I make out with someone in a cemetery. Or not, I didn't make out with him, but I did make out with another guy in a cemetery. I made out in a cemetery a couple years later with my first boyfriend, the one I told you guys about already. So that was interesting. Um, and so we like, yeah, we held hands. No. He was getting more flirty with me. I do remember that. And while my brother was over there chanting and doing all these crazy shits, um, he told me that he had a crush on me. And it was finally like, oh my God, like, okay, it's happening. And so it was, honestly, I have to say, best friend, like, it was so sweet. Um, it was so sweet because, like, I had been having these feelings for him, and I was just kind of nervous that he didn't have those feelings. So he slept over that night, and we did hold hands while we were sleeping, and then we did share a kiss the day afterwards in this restaurant while my mom was taking him back home. And something very similar happened with my first boy. Like, this is a thing that's so crazy to me that, like, I don't know if it's because I attract these type of situations, but I always get myself into the weirdest fucking situation. Like, I look back and I'm like, my God, fucking weird situation. Anyways, um so you guys already know this part because I have already talked to you guys. I've mentioned that part before, but this is the parts that I've never really mentioned. Um, After that, things started getting very, like, he would dedicate songs to me. Every single day he would dedicate songs to me, and we actually, I mean, he denies it. Like, he says, oh, I mean, I don't really remember us being boyfriends, but like, yeah, he was my first boyfriend because he asked me to be his boyfriend, and we were boyfriends. Like, we were literally boyfriends. I told him, I was like, are you kidding me? Like, you don't remember this? But anyways, um, then I moved, right? We moved. We left. It was the hardest thing in the world to leave him. Um, and I do remember that we still spoke a little bit. But then a couple years went by, and we lost contact. I never forget a conversation we had. Okay, do you guys know the song Cool by Gwen Stefani? Go listen to it, like, if you can, like, and then you'll see what I mean. It's basically about, like, hanging out with your ex-boyfriend's new girlfriend. So it's about, like, being friends after a breakup. And I remember that that was his way of breaking up with me. He dedicated that song to me, and he goes, it's time for us to like face facts, like you moved and this and that, blah blah blah. And he's like, listen to this song and this is how I feel. And that's how he broke up with me. Anyways, years later, I did have my boyfriend who I did live with. And at this point, this is a guy that I told you that that like got physical with me. And yeah, we still lived under the same roof, but we weren't like together. So that's how me and Philip's phone sex started. hmm I don't exactly know how. It's like how, because I'm not that type of person. Like I'm like Charlotte from Sex and the City. I'm like, I'm like, I swear, like I'm a saint when it comes to that. But every day, like clockwork, in the morning, before I got ready to go, we were doing the doing. I don't remember how, like I said, we got into it, but we were. And it went on for some time. And so I finally went back to Miami because we were going to Colombia to visit our grandmother. And we we were so like we've already done the phone thing, and I'm guessing he was expecting to do the real thing. But my brother was there, so it was not going to happen. But we did like make out finally, like real make out. We did kind of like not enjoy each other's bodies like that, but we did, do some other things. Um and it was so crazy and so intense. He definitely wanted to go all the way, but I mean, and I feel like, because you guys know I have my 2 or 3 month rule. Sometimes it's 2 months, sometimes it's 3 months. Um, and I feel like I could have definitely because it's been years. Like I could have definitely, but I didn't feel comfortable like with my brother there, in the same house. And like he wanted to go to the pool area to do things, and I was just like, girl, no, this is not how because he, my like first boyfriend or whatever. And then he denies, well, he denied it years later. But I'm glad I didn't do it with him, to be honest, because had we done it and then he would have denied that we were boyfriends, I don't know what would, like, that is the thing that scares me the most about like doing things, is that if you like, it's a big deal, right? Like for, at least for me, it's a big deal. And like I would be terrified if they're like, oh no, it didn't mean anything. I'd be like, oh my god. But anyways, um him and I don't know what would have happened had I stayed in Miami. Like I feel like him and I probably would have, I think we probably would have evolved, because we have a lot of things in common. We really truly do. My husband's talked to him. We talk occasionally. My brother's passing was very hard on him, because they had their own friendship. And um I will never forget telling him about it. Like that was really tough. But we're still in contact. And you know it was such a special time, because aside from like our romantic, or at least one-sided romanticness of it, the three of us had a lot of fun. And we had some other friends in the building that like we would go like on adventures with. And it was so much fun. So like those are the things that like I cherish, like those memories. And I think that's the thing about looking back, is that you get to experience these things. And even if there's some that are not great memories about the whole story. I'm sure there's still some things in the story that, you know, kind of helps you, um, not helps you, but it makes you cherish that even more. You know what I mean? But it's so funny because we talked for the first time on the phone some years ago, maybe during COVID times. And he just randomly called me and we talked for like an hour. And we were just talking about like my brother and like our times together, and you know, not that types, but like the adventurous types. We did not mention the phone thing. You know, he obviously knows I'm married and he's very respectful of that. We did talk about like the boyfriend thing, right? Because I was like, oh, you know, because I did say part of this story in a video way ago. I was like, oh, you know, by the way, I told them about you. I didn't give them your name or anything. And he's like, what did you say? And I'm like, well, you know, because you're my first boyfriend. And he goes, what? He goes, I was your first boyfriend? Because I wasn't aware we were boyfriends. And I was like, oh, hell no. Are you kidding me? So yeah, I guess I'm a romantic. And I feel like if we hold hands, we're boyfriends. If we kiss, we're boyfriends. If we make love, we're getting married. Like, that's just how I think of things. But you know, it was beautiful memories. You know, it's so nice to look back in these times and to, you know, to realize, you know, I've said this before where I'm like, you know, I didn't have it, like, you know, I envied my girlfriends in class that they had like their first boyfriends. Like, I had experiences, but I could never be open about it. You know, I never, you know what I mean? Like, I could never really talk about it. I could never really do something about it. Um, so yeah, that's my story of my first boyfriend. Well, if you want to call it that. I mean, I can't really say my first boyfriend because he doesn't consider me his first boyfriend or even a boyfriend. So my first boyfriend is one I already told you guys about. But yeah, I mean, you know, he was very sweet. I'll never forget holding his hand, and you know, we have such similar tastes. He was supposed to come visit my husband and I like a year ago or something. He had work here or something. He had something to do here. But it just, and he was going to stay with us and everything, but it didn't work out. Something got canceled or something, I don't remember. But oh, I did, you know what, I did see him, I want to say after the time that I told you about when I went back and we made out. I saw him one more time, and that was the last time I saw him. Must have been a year after that. I was traveling with a girlfriend of mine, and we met up at a beach in Florida. And like, there was zero romance, like there was zero anything. Like, it was just like a friend. Like, yeah, there was like no flirting, there was no nothing, and I was totally single. He was single, um but yeah, nothing. I feel like because that time I got very drunk, so I could have definitely done a lot more. So anyways, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear from you all. I'm so grateful, so thankful. Happy New Year. You guys know that this year, I know it's going to be so blessed. It's going to be your best year yet. But you just have to remember that you are worthy of a good life, of good people, of good things. And most importantly, you deserve happiness. I love you. Happy New Year, best friend. And I know that this is gonna be our year. I love you. I love you. I love you. Okay, New Year's kiss. Mwah. I love you so, with the pimple cream. I love you all very much. And I'm so grateful for you. And this is our year, bitch. Yes. Mwah.